Welcome back, guys. Thanks for taking the time to spend a little time with me. I always appreciate that. And hey, you guys know I was going to come and give my thoughts on what we saw today from EA Sports College Football 25, CFB 25, whatever you want to call it. And before I even get started, man, I want to give a shout out to a couple guys, man. Shout outs to my man, Scott, OG. Y'all already know. Me and OG go back a long time, man. And listen, I told you guys once before that he was as much of a sim football guy as he is a sim basketball guy. I told you that years ago. And he's been undercover for quite a few years. We knew he left 2K. He went down to EA. And now you guys know what he's been working on. So I want to give him a quick shout out. And also, shout outs to guys like Eric Rayweather and others. They have gone through this entire blog, particularly Eric. He's gone through this entire blog, so I'm not going to do that. I don't have to do that. If you want to hear each and every point read, I suggest you head over to Eric's video, give it a listen. He's reading it in detail if you don't want to read this yourself. If you haven't done that, he's actually trending. The last time I looked, he was number 7. So go over there and support if you want to hear the entire thing. My aim tonight, and I'm trying to be as brief as possible. I'm about to head out of town tomorrow morning. My plane leaves at 7 a.m. It is right now 11:15. So yeah, it's going to be an early morning for me. But anyway, let's get to it. My goal tonight, man, is simply just to look at the things that catch my eye the most. It's exciting news that we're hearing and we're seeing about college football. I hope everything pans out. You guys know I am a TBD guy. To be determined. Until I have the game in my hands, I can play for myself. I can't give an accurate account for how good or how bad the game is. You know, I see some people overly excited who have not played the game, and I see some people extremely trashing the game the other way and you haven't played it. I don't understand how you can do that, but hey, when I get my hands on it, I will give you the real deal, Holyfield. Y'all already know. So let's just scroll through this, man. It's a lot going on here. The pregame. You got to start with the campus IQ. And now they've told us exactly what campus IQ is. It says it encompasses the overarching concept that has built gameplay to what it is today. With that said, college gameplay, was built on these 3 fundamental pillars, all 22, 134 ways to play, and stories of Saturday. And basically what those are, I'll just read them really quick. The All 22, it highlights the importance of all individual players and their unique abilities. It emphasizes the differentiation and talent between the best and worst players in college football. Let's see how that pans out. We've always wanted to see a differentiation, a difference between best and worst. We'll have to see how that pans out. 134 ways to play. From day one, our message was every team is somebody's favorite team. Facts. Properly representing offensive schemes from Air Force triple option to air raid at USC was the utmost importance to us. That's going to be interesting as well because, again, if you look at the Madden community, whether you are a sim guy like myself, a casual guy like others, a competitive player, you know, like some of the competitive guys, everyone talks about playbooks. They're highlighting a series of playbooks in this game that's going to match the play style of each and every team that's represented. So let's keep an eye on that and see how close it comes. And then the final pillar, Stories of Saturday, seeks to encapsulate the raw emotions of these student athletes as they perform under intense pressure in hostile environments. A true freshman is going to respond differently compared to a senior. So getting this right was really important. Okay. And as it says here, bringing all of these together would ultimately have us landing arguably the most important aspect of college football, which is wide open gameplay. So as you can see, they talk about stick work. Not going to dive too deep into that, but again, I'm going to more so talk about the things that are the most important to me, that has caught my eye, or things that I have talked about for numerous years. And one of them would be right here, number 2 on the list, wear and tear. Guys, I can't even remember the first year I started talking to EA when I used to go down to the studio and the devs and when Rex Dixon was there and others. And I used to always say, we have to showcase some type of wear and tear in the football game. Where did I get that crazy idea? Well, football itself. As someone who's played football, someone who's watched football his entire life, someone who is a fanatic of football, you got to have some form of wear and tear. I recall a time when I was down at EA Tiburon in the studio and Alfred Morris happened to be in town, him and his lovely wife. She was pregnant at the time. Great guy. And I remember being in the studio. He's in there watching us play and test the game. I can't remember which Madden it was. But he said himself, we asked him, what is it like when you break out a long run or you do a series of juke moves, a spin or truck or whatever in the real game? And he said, man, you tired as I don't know what. You pull all that off after 10, 15 yards. By the time you get to the 30th yard gained or what have you, he said, you dead tired. The moves are not going to be as effective. And ever since then, I was like, see, I remember looking at the devs and I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about. I know it's a video game, but we need to have this type of stuff in the game. Not only affecting, fatigue, particularly in that situation. So I thought when progressive fatigue was introduced in Madden a couple years ago, that it would be something like that. It was kind of, I won't even say scratching the surface. It was kind of just poking at the idea. And, progressive fatigue didn't really land the way we wanted it to land because, players wouldn't return. It was kind of a broken feature. But this is an extension of that, where now you have to worry about body health as well as your fatigue. Two separate entities, but they work together. And again, this is something that EA had the idea to do years ago. Head coach 09 had that component with the body diagram and showing you the health. And a lot of people thought that 2K did that first in terms of basketball. And I'll be honest, I don't remember if it was in 2K5. It may have been. If it was, shout outs to 2K. But I know most people would compare it to 2K basketball. So let's just talk about more of the modern era. A lot of people thought NBA 2K introduced that. And I was like, well, Madden should have had it years ago, but head coach 09 had that component. So I say all that to say this is by far one of my favorite things that I've heard about this game so far. And clearly, you guys can see what it does. You can read for yourself, but I'll read one piece. It says, so how does it work? Every limb and body part of a player is linked with unique attributes. For instance, if your quarterback's throwing arm receives a significant hit, you'll notice a decrease in your throw power and accuracy. Similarly, damage to the legs will impact a player's change of direction and acceleration, making every movement feel slower. Each body part degrades at a different rate, and the player's toughness rating plays a critical role into how much damage is applied on a given hit. The more damage a body part is, the higher the chance and severity of the injury. Long story short, you have to manage how long or how much or how often you're getting hit in a certain spot. You keep taking hits, it will have an effect on your gameplay as well as put you at a higher risk for injury. That's how it works in the real world, guys. Here's the diagram here. And it's asking where you can see it. So it's basically letting you know different areas and where you can see that information. But like I said, man, just from a feature standpoint, I've been asking for this for years, and it says it changes the game. And, with these changes, wear and tear will add a new depth to a player's gameplay more than ever before. Up until now, aside from the risk of throwing an interception or fumbling, what have been the impacts of throwing the ball 40 or 50 times? And they ask a question there. Nothing. It says now gameplay decisions come with physical consequences for your virtual players, adding another layer of authenticity and balance to the game. And like I said, you can read the rest of it for yourselves. But guys, this is huge. This should be in every sports game at this point. Some games already have it, but we haven't had it in a football game here lately. And I'm going to tell you right now, somebody clip this up. Clip this up. Wear and tear better be in Madden 25. Better. I don't want to hear no excuses. Same engine. It's football. If it works in college football, it better work in Madden. No excuse. If this feature is not in Madden, oh boy, you won't want to hear my response to that. Let's move on. Option game is obvious. I don't need to read that. Of course, it's college football, but this is very deep here. Let's see what else they got here. This one here, I like this. They're talking about shells, and I'm not talking about turtles. It says now, you will be able to disguise your coverage. They have removed base alignment. That's important. You know, I didn't use it that often anyway, but I know competitive players had beef with base alignment. Me, the more important feature is that you can disguise your coverages. It gives an example. It says, use the right stick while in formation to view the command, view and command your secondary position and range of cunningly disguising coverages or disguising looks. It says, these can range from a high pressure cover 0 blitz to a back off cover 4 look. It also even says something to the effect of, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it says, but the excitement doesn't stop there. Before the snap, you also have the option to showcase a single high or 2 high, depending on the formation you have chosen. So they're advertising real defensive disguises and shells. We shall see. But that is something that caught my eye as well. Here's another thing that caught my eye. Not just abilities, but the fact that there are no X factor abilities, meaning there doesn't appear to be any abilities that are 100% guaranteed. This is something else we've talked about in Madden since abilities have been introduced. Listen, I'm actually one of those people that don't mind abilities. I've always talked about how can you make players play like their real life counterparts. You got to do something. You know, in MLB, it's quirks. And in NBA 2K, it's badges. And I'm not sure what they call it in FIFA or NHL. But, you know what I mean? You got to have some type of ability-based system. You know, even 2K8, kind of had these abilities. You got to have something like that to make these players play differently, as well as matching these guys to their real life counterpart. I'm cool with that. But what I despise, and I did not like after it got going, I did not like X factor abilities with absolutes. That is where it gets cheesy and gamey. I understand it's a video game, but the idea is to replicate the best way you can, as close as possible. Try to provide authenticity as close as you can get it. That is the goal. So I didn't like anything that was 100% guarantee or an absolute. I definitely did not like that. College football will not have 100% guarantee abilities. And these abilities, from what we're hearing, make sense. It makes sense. They have mental and physical abilities. They seem to make sense once you read through all these and understand what they mean. But again, TBD. I have not played this game myself, so I'm merely just giving you my opinion based on what I'm reading. That's it. So any excitement, any enthusiasm you hear, even any disappointment if I have any, that's based off of the information, not the game. I have not played it. I do kind of like the pre-snap recognition, particularly for the CPU side of things. We'll see how that works out. Let's see. They talk about these tiered systems, which is cool. Bronze, silver, gold tier, and platinum. So it will be tiered, based on the ability you have. I like that. That the bronze and gold and silver kind of remind me of 2K8-ish. It's 2K8-esque. That's cool. Confidence and composure. Listen. Absolutely, and absolutely excited about this. I mean, again, some of this stuff was in NCAA 14 or the NCAA that we knew in the past. I get it, and I'm not one of those people that get upset when a feature is brought back to a game. Because if you liked it, why wouldn't you want that in the current product, right? It does sound like they've expanded on this quite a bit. So again, in short, I like this. I feel like confidence and composure should be in any football game. When you play on the road, hostile environment, etc., there should be some form of this. And again, if you listen to the people who've played this game already, they've kind of gone into saying that it's deeper than what you might remember from previous NCAA games. I don't really need to talk about coach vision so much, but it does show you your wear and tear and your composure, your abilities, matchups. So it seems like the matchup stick, so to speak, is back. Let me just read that. It says, while the idea of showing the matchups is not new, we have reworked the formula to make this easily accessible and straightforward for you. This is now color-coded for ease of understanding, green for a favorable matchup, yellow for an even one, and red for a disadvantage. This system enables you to quickly assess the situation and adjust your game plan accordingly. I like that. I always like the matchup stick in Madden because, again, you should be able to see where your disadvantages are. Some people may not like that. Some people might feel like that's more of a arcadey feature. I personally don't think that. I mean, we're not on the field. This is not a real field where we've been able to, we're the coach and we've studied the team. Maybe in Dynasty you do have is there an option to kind of study your opponent? I don't know, but I am not mad at the matchup where you can quickly identify who's playing who. I'm cool with that. I've always been cool with that. Home field advantage. Y'all already know how I feel about that. The same is confidence and composure. There should be an element of home field advantage. I like that it looks like it varies based on situation, down and distance, stadium. Seems like not all stadiums can reach the same level of loudness, if you will. I like that. That's cool. Shout outs to Good Game Bro, my man Dougie. I heard him say, the crowd noise in certain stadiums was much louder than it was in others. He talked about, a JMU. I think he talked about Tennessee or Oklahoma or something like that. But he said, whoa, Penn State. This is what I'm talking about. We should be able to hear that variance. Hostile environments should be a little more hostile in certain places. So I like them having the pulse meter there. It's going to be very similar, I'm assuming, to what we saw in the past in NCAA 14, as well as, what we have now in Madden. So again, we still have to see how this plays out, how they've kind of, retooled it, how it affects the game, and to be determined whether or not it's cheesy or not. I don't have a problem with home field advantage as long as it is done in a proper way. Well, again, nothing is absolute. If it's done the proper way and ratings are affected, and I like what they're doing, where they're saying higher levels of players, as far as seniors, will be more aware or be able to keep their composure a little better than a freshman because they've been there, done that. See, I like that. That's more of a realistic element. So as long as they're doing this in the most authentic way possible, I'm cool. As long as it's not cheesy, we shall see. What else? Revamp passing. This one is interesting to me. I'm not gonna read all of the words again. Eric Rayweather has done that for you guys. Go check him out. But this one is very interesting to me, man, because I'm a fan of free form passing that's currently in Madden 24. You guys know, man, if you've been following me for years, I know some of you guys watching this video, at least I hope so, are new viewers. I've been doing this thing a long time, man, as far as giving feedback on football games. I'm a simulation-based guy. I'm a sim head. I want the game to be as realistic as possible. That's always been my angle. I first got an opportunity to go down to EA Sports back for Madden 13. That was 2012, and I've had a relationship with them since then. In terms of, at that time, it was the game changer program. This day and age, I'm not going down to EA as much, but I'm still considered a EA creator network. I still kind of have that relationship. But again, always giving my open, honest opinion. I don't get anything. There's no incentive for me when it's talking about EA. Most of y'all would know that, but I'm just trying to give people an understanding for those that don't know what I do. But I say all that to say this. You know that I've always talked about ball placement, being able to place the ball where you want it, trajectories, something that 2K8 did extremely well. And I used to use 2K8 all the time as an example of football principles that game had. That game was not perfect. No, none of them have been. But there were a lot of football aspects in 2K8 when it comes to the passing game, animation, things of that nature that I always referenced. So freeform passing, I love it because I could literally put that ball where I wanted to go. It was a step up from target passing. So this one I'm a little hesitant because I want to see how well you can do that with this system versus freeform passing. Because listening to some of the guys who've gone down there, again, shout outs to Good Game Bro. He's kind of in the same boat as me. We like freeform passing. So he said he was skeptical until he started playing with this system. And he says now he might like it better than freeform passing. And that is intriguing to me because, again, I feel like I'm nice with freeform passing. But if there's an easier way as far as mechanically to pull off the same type of behavior, I'm all for that. It's all about game mechanics and the ease of it. That's the reason why a lot of people didn't use target passing. It wasn't as intuitive. Freeform passing got better, but you still got to hold the trigger and aim and all of that. So if there's an easier way to do it with the button press, and that dictates your speed and power and lead and loft, and I mean literally, because they're talking about dropping the ball in the bucket. If you can incorporate that with sensitivity of the button press or whatever they're advertising here, cool. But this has my attention. Switch stick is an interesting one as well. This is very intriguing and very interesting, but I have to play for myself before I could give a real opinion. But I like what they're talking about here. And I don't really have to say much. It's being illustrated here right on the screen. It basically allows you to quickly switch to the closest defender. You flick the right stick in the direction of who you want to switch to, and then you can take control of that player. I like where they're going with this, and we'll just have to see how it pans out. And then of course, playbooks and team style, self-explanatory. We already kind of covered that earlier. Let's see if they're able to replicate that with 134 teams. Tempo game, there's an additional turbo tempo or what have you that's a little different from No Huddle. It says turbo tempo encapsulates a rapid rush to the line style of play. It says think back to the blur offensive days of Oregon. You're essentially trading the ability to hot route and audible at the line of scrimmage for an advantage of the defense not being set and their defensive line being slower off the ball. Okay, so this is more of that, Chip Kelly. Remember, he tried to introduce that in the NFL, that rapid speed, which is faster than No Huddle. Real-time coaching. Man, oh man. Boy, oh boy. This has my attention. And let me explain why. And I'm almost done, guys. I know I've been going for quite a while now. I'm almost done. Thank you for hanging in there with me. Most of you guys would know that, outside of being a pure simulation gameplay guy, I'm a huge franchise and dynasty mode guy, just season and team building type of guy, season after season after season. I've played both online and I've played offline. In more recent years, I've returned back to more of an offline guy because, with playing games like Madden, playing against other users in the game, just allowing too many exploits and cheesy things, and it's just not fun to me anymore, where I don't feel like I'm always competing. Shout outs to my man Azure Effect. Anytime me and Azure play each other online, it is a classic game. I mean, we could probably sell it because we both play a simulation style. We don't try to exploit the woes of the AI or, the meta. We just try to, outwill each other. And it always turns into a beautiful game. But that's not largely across the board. Excuse me. And I'm not going to blame gamers for that. You know, if the game allows you to do it, hey, do what you want to do. Just like competitive players. If there's an exploit or if there's something that guys can't stop, it's a video game. You're trying to make money off it. I'm not mad at that. The game shouldn't allow you to do certain things. So who am I to get mad because I play a different style? So with all that said, I'm a little long-winded there. Real-time coaching, where it says here, making its debut in this year's edition, the real-time coaching feature is an adaptive coaching engine designed to authentically enhance both offense and defensive CPU gameplay. Because I imagine I'm going to be spending a lot of time in an offline dynasty, and I am the type of guy that I want to play real football. I want the AI to be smart and hard. I want to lose if I don't play well. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not one of those people that just want to cut on my season and I win the chip every year. No. I want AI and a computer system that can get as close as possible to being a real opponent, where I'm literally sweating bullets playing the game. And it sounds like that's what they're trying to accomplish here. You guys can read the rest of this for yourselves, but this is what I'm talking about, man. And this RTC engine coaches a coaching aggressiveness, or aggressiveness possesses unique adaptive adjustment levels. This means that different coaches will react and adapt differently to successful run or pass games, thus creating a more authentic, dynamic, and unpredictable game environment. I have my full attention on this. Down here, they're talking about the trenches. This really has my attention because you guys know I am one of those folks that feel like the trenches, again, is where it starts and ends. I want to see more dynamic gameplay down there, way more animation. I want to see weight and physics and all of that be more of a factor. And though they're not saying much about weight and things like that, they are talking about, it says, to maintain the flow of momentum in blocking interactions, 400 animations have been added. These animations not only cover open field blocking, but also extend the pass blocking and run blocking point of attack engagements. So we shall see. I've heard some of the people already playing the game says this game feels the most physical that they recall an EA game being. Okay, we're going to see. But they're talking about doing actual work in the trenches. So I am interested. One right here says a new pass protection mechanic has been added, which provides 6 pass protection targeting schemes. These schemes allow players to have increased control over matchups. Through user interface matchup lines, players can now see who is targeting who, and indicators will show unblocked defenders. Additionally, the pocket formation on pass plays has been improved to enhance the overall gameplay. We're going to see. And last but not least, man, it's pouring out here. They're talking about weather affecting gameplay. This is something else you've heard me say quite often over the years. To what degree, we'll have to wait and see. But they're definitely talking about it's going to affect your motion and movement and some abilities and accuracy and things like that. This is what I'm talking about. For years, I've been saying it needs to be more than just a predetermined slip on a passing route. You know how always in Madden, it was when you was running an out route, that's when they slipped. It was so predictable. This seems like they're doing a lot more than just that. So we shall see. I don't know. TBD. And outside of that, man, they just talking about the little things. They talk about it's good, the new kick meter. I will say this. It's good to see that there's a new meter, but I still feel like missed opportunity here. I prefer a kick meter where you're using the right stick, like the swing, the up and down should dictate power. It should be sort of like the swing mechanic in Tiger Woods 14, if you guys remember that. Or it should be like all pro football, 2K8's kick meter. That's what I would prefer. But it does sound like that this makes it hard. And that's really all I'm asking for. We need to make field goals mean something. Accuracy means something. It needs to be harder the further out you are, as well as the player's rating. We shouldn't just be able to time it up and it's automatic. It needs to be a combination of both. We shall see. And outside of that, man, some of these little things that they're talking about, not so much for me to get into, man. I really just wanted to point out the things that were the most important to me. And if there's one, I mean, there's about 6 of them here that I mentioned that are significantly important to me. But I'm going to go right back up here to my main takeaway. Absolutely, is this right here. And this is where we can end the video. Did not know I was going to talk for 30 minutes, but hey. Wear and tear. Body health. Having to literally plan accordingly and manage your roster. It's going to make team building that much more important. Who's behind this guy? What's your depth look like? Now you're recruiting. All of this is going to matter now because you got to be concerned about overall wear and tear throughout the game and season. This adds a tremendous element that I am ecstatic to hear about. All right, but I'm going to leave it right there, man. I just know some of you guys was looking for my opinion. There it is. Again, disclaimer, I cannot make a determination on this game for it or against it until I can play the game myself, but I'm only going off of the information. You know, I know some people have the hype train going. It's not that. My opinion is I am excited by what I'm hearing. Cautiously optimistic, of course, because, you know, we've been down this road before sometimes when EA doesn't quite deliver. But I do have confidence in my guy, OG. I know he's been working hard for a few years. And we should all know his passion, man, from when he was with 2K as well as when he was on the live team. He's about that real deal. And it sounds like they shot for the moon, and we shall see. But outside of that, man, you guys know, before we go, I'm always going to remind you, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, turn on those notifications. That's the least you can do. But outside of that, man, hey, before I go, like always, let me know what you think. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.